Hello, Kennedy drama students. So I am going to be uh, introducing a new unit for you today. This is going to give you a background about what set design is and what a set designer does. And then you're going to be able to do one of a couple different assessments going forward to show me you understand. You're also going to be doing further research and gaining more understanding on your own, and we'll talk about that next time. So first, what is a set and why do we have it? So the easiest way to describe the set is anything that is on the stage without the actors. So not counting the actors. If you opened the curtain for a show and the actors are not on stage yet, what do you see? So there's the background, which could be the backdrop or it could be big set pieces. It can also be big pieces of furniture. It can be set dressing, which is basically like the decorations. So set dressing is your pictures on the wall, or if you have a tablecloth, things like that, that's all dressing. We have a set to make sure that the audience has some sort of context for what play we're putting on. So you can do that in one of two ways. A set can either be abstract and symbolic, which means it can create a mood or set a tone. It does not have to be straightforward. Or it can be highly realistic where the audience is completely immersed in whatever world you are portraying. We're going to see different kinds of sets, and I'm going to explain a little bit about each kind in a minute so that you get a little bit more understanding of what that means. And last, the audience is able to connect better with the story, and the actors are better able to tell the story if you've got a set. If you're acting on a completely bare stage, it's more difficult to connect with the story that you're portraying. So these are some examples. The first one is Hamilton. This is set in the 1770s, right, during the American Revolution. So you can see all of the wood, the brick. It's a very straightforward set. I would call this more symbolic than realistic just because there are so many things that happen and things come in and out. The set pieces are realistic. Those are going to be things that if somebody's writing at a desk, they'll bring in a desk. But like, it's cool. This staircase will move, and so when he's traveling from the Dominican Republic, or maybe I don't know, when he's traveling from his country and he comes to the United States, Alexander Hamilton, this moves and it becomes like a ship, and then later on it becomes George Washington's office. So it's pretty symbolic as to what's going on, and things come in and out accordingly. This next one is really straightforward, right? This is obviously some sort of town. Chances are it was a town not now. It's probably in the past 50 or 60 years ago. You can see that there are shops and probably apartments. And chances are, whatever we're talking about, whatever the play is about, centers around this area, right? There are names here, and there are not names over here. So this says powders, this says perfumes, and then this says a name that I'm not even going to try and pretend like I can pronounce. And clearly, those are probably the main people that we're talking about in the story. I also want you to take a look right now at the color scheme. There's this very specific color scheme here, and there's probably a reason for that. There's all pastels, and it's light and soft. So that is something to look at when you're moving forward. This is Dear Evan Hansen. This is a very abstract set. The reason this is abstract and symbolic is because there is no background. It is clearly not realistic. We don't live in a world that is completely comprised of screens, right? But all of these screens will change constantly depending on what's going on. You can see here there is a name, there are different pictures, and these all change and move. Now they do, again, like Hamilton, have set pieces that are brought on. For instance, one scene is in a bedroom, so they bring on a bed and a dresser. But the background, the set as a whole is very abstract. This is, you can call it what you want. This is very strange, right? So whatever story this is probably very strange and weird and loopy and like off in an alternate universe. You can see everything here is very, very purposeful. So the crooked frame, there's a reason it's crooked. All of the floor being all over the place, there's a reason for that. It's purposeful. This is the last that I'm going to show you. This is SpongeBob SquarePants the musical. So if you know anything about SpongeBob, you know he lives in a pineapple, under the sea. You can see different things are here, and those are probably things that are in the sea. There's a bicycle that probably fell into the sea. I'm not really sure. And this opens up, and then you are immersed in a world behind it. We're going to pause the video for a moment, and I want you to take a look at this set. So I'm going to describe what is here just for you. There's yellow set pieces. You can see some shadows. I know it's a little blurry, but I want you to really focus on it and figure out what kind of story you think this is part of. I don't want a couple words. I want a solid paragraph, 3 or 4 sentences at least, describing what kind of story could be this. Use your imagination, but you tell me what you think this set is for. See you in a minute. All right, now we're talking about the set designer. So what the career of a set designer means. So a set designer creates the concept that is in line with the director's vision. The director is the person who has the final say of everything. And what the director will do is sit down with the set designer and tell them their vision. They will describe what they see, what they think, what they feel about the story. The set designer is then supposed to come up with a concept, normally some sort of sketch. But now there's all kinds of software that they can do it on an iPad or on a computer, and they come up with like a general plan. They design and they organize it and they plan. So the entire build, when they're going to start building the set, is completely under the set designer's purview. The director will have final say, can say, no, I don't like this, but the set designer basically does it all, with the director kind of coming in and saying, okay, thanks. The set designer decides how it will be built, using what materials, how long it needs to take, how it's painted, and how it's decorated. And they focus on the look of the stage as a whole. It can be as interesting as your imagination can make it, and as interesting as your ingenuity can make it. So if you know that somewhere there's an engineer that can make this happen, go for it. There are so many crazy things happening right now. There's King Kong right now in New York, and it is literally a 30-ton gorilla. Mechanical, moves, talks. And I mean, a fully grown woman can sit in the palm of his hand. Anything can happen at this point. Things to consider when you're building a set. Your focus should be on the atmosphere and the mood. So yes, you're thinking about if it's in a town, if it's in a house, but your most important thing is what kind of atmosphere are you creating? If you are doing a story that's scary, you should create a scary atmosphere. If you're doing a story that's really happy, if it's romantic, it should have a romantic atmosphere, right? You're going to put flowers or different colors or whatever you want, and it should create a mood. Same thing. And so this is drama students like to create silly theater. So each word has something that you need to remember. So drama is for direction. In your case, when you're going to be doing your assessment, you are the director. So it's your direction. What direction do you see the story going in? The shape. So students is shape. What is the shape of your set? Do you want it to be a box, like a straight up box? Do you want it to be like SpongeBob SquarePants had that, right? Because it was a pineapple. So what kind of shape do you want to see your set come to? Like is line. The line that you see, that goes with shape. A lot of these work together. The line is, do you want it all straight out? Do you want zigzags? Do you want circles? What kind of lines work with your play? If your play is really disjointed and things happen and then things happen and then things happen, it would make sense that your set looks like that, right? So you need to make sure you know exactly what your play or scene is like. 2 is for tone. Again, set the tone. Set the tone for whatever kind of story there's going to be. Color, again, goes with mood. First of all, you don't want boring. There needs to be some dimension. You need to make sure that your colors, you have multiple colors going on, but it should all work together to go for the tone. Silly is space. Know your space. For you, I want you to imagine that your space is our stage at KMS, but it can be even grander, okay? You just need to have a space in mind. And last is theater, which is texture. Texture is so, so important. You don't want just a flat background and that's it. That's boring. You need to have things that are going to catch people's eye, things that are, it's 3-dimensional. Have it come out, have multiple layers, have a staircase going up to a second story. Whatever you want to do, it's possible. I want you to be creative. The limit is your imagination, which means the limit does not exist. If you know what that's from, bonus points. But I really want you to think outside the box and get excited and do some things that we've never thought of before. This is your chance to be as creative as possible. This is your chance to go as far as possible. Push the envelope. Push things that you thought couldn't happen. They can happen. See you soon.